Good afternoon and welcome to the Seattle Public Library. I'm MT, your Chief Librarian, and I'm really excited to be here today to witness the signing of the legislation that authorizes the library levy renewal on the August 6th ballot. We are very grateful to Mayor Durkin and Councilmember Juarez for their leadership in helping us get to this point. I'd like to give a special thanks to our Library Board of Trustees who volunteer their time and talent to ensure our library system remains strong for the people of Seattle. In addition to the hard work of our board, we would not be a nationally recognized five-star library without the wonderful support from the Library Foundation, the Friends of the Seattle Public Library, and our many committed volunteers, and of course, our incredible staff. This levy renewal package has been a collaborative process that involved the contributions of tens of thousands of residents through surveys, neighborhood outreach, and community meetings. The $219 million levy is a responsible plan that provides budget stability for community priorities in 4 areas: library hours, the collection of books and materials, technology, and building maintenance. While the city's general fund continues to provide the bulk of the library's current budget, levy funds have represented approximately 1/4 of our total annual budget since 2013 and has been a significant source of funding for core services. As the only institution providing free educational and information access to all, it is critical that our libraries evolve to meet the changing needs of the communities we serve. Since our first levy, the library has encountered dramatic shifts in our service to the community, with over 100,000 new residents now calling Seattle home. The levy renewal responds to our growing and changing city with additional library hours, collections, technology, and building maintenance. It also supports our equity work, helping ensure library resources are accessible to those who need it most. As we position ourselves for the future, the Seattle Public Library remains committed to opening up exciting new worlds of opportunity for every resident in our community. And now I would like to introduce someone who understands how important libraries are to our communities, Mayor Durkin.
Thank you. You go first? All right, good to see you. Thanks, MT. Good morning. Thanks so much, MT, for the introduction. I will say I'm kind of a little old school. I feel silly making so much noise in the library. Just take a moment and look around. We are in an award-winning library, but it's not the design that makes it. I am so excited today to be here to sign our plan to keep our library doors all over the city, to advance opportunity and education for everyone, to promote equity in every part of our city, and to prepare people for the jobs of the future. From story time to summer learning programs to adult learning classes, the Seattle Public Library advances equity every day. I was really fortunate this morning. I got to start my morning in White Center on a conference talking about equity and how we can build more equity across our region country. And I talked to them about the libraries and the levy that we're talking about, because the people in the libraries, everyone who works in every library across the city, led by MT, not only live equity, but promote it every day through not just the brick and mortars of the libraries that are open and become this very vital center for community, but through the programs they offer, through the open arms. I will say it's amazing what we do. In 2018, in 1 year alone, our Seattle Public Libraries hosted more than 5 million visitors. Think about that. In just 1 year alone, 5 million people going through the doors of our libraries, and they circulated almost 12 million items. The Seattle Public Library gave opportunities to more than 13,000 adult learning programs like English as a second language, adult education tutoring, and Ready to Work. This plan that we're signing today will take 5 steps to invest in libraries of the future, in opportunity, in equity, and in that better Seattle that we all want to see for the next generation. First, we will fully fund current Seattle Public Library services at locations that receive those 5 million visitors. We will promote equity both through play and learning for preschoolers and additional support services for our youth. Second, we know that for libraries to serve the function in the future, we have to make sure the doors of the library are open. So what we're signing today will actually add an additional 10,000 hours. 10,000 hours across the library. People's lives have changed so much. We want to make sure that these vital places for community and people to come together are open when they need them. So that means expanding Sunday hours at every single library and additional hours Monday through Thursday. And we're particularly focusing also on 7 libraries that are in those communities that have people who are most left behind or disadvantaged economically. So those libraries are open more so those people can enjoy all the access that libraries bring. I'm committed as mayor to giving every person in Seattle access to real opportunity. And that starts with making sure that our libraries are open to every resident. And we want to remove barriers. And that's why this legislation today that we sign eliminates overdue fines. Libraries have disproportionately, the fines have impacted our low-income residents. We see that in those places where fines are used as barriers for people to come back and enjoy libraries, it's more likely that those blocked accounts and higher balances are in the very neighborhoods that are underserved in our Seattle. Fines are barriers to Seattle enjoying its libraries. We're going to make sure that barrier is removed in the future. We also know that the digital divide is growing. More and more our libraries will be going online. We see books and other things circulated as digital. We have to make sure that the libraries of the future have larger digital collections, so this legislation will allow that. But we also want to make sure that that's enjoyed by all, so we'll also support digital literacy classes, high-speed internet access. And for those families that don't have internet at home, we will increase the ability to check out Wi-Fi hotspots. So we reduce the digital divide. We will invest almost $10 million in our digital upgrades. Finally, every chance we get, we have to make Seattle more safe. And this legislation will also make sure that we address some of the unreinforced masonry challenges we have in some of our beautiful historic libraries. So we can do those upgrades at places like Columbia, Green Lake, and the university branches. I know that people are stretched in Seattle and that taxpayers themselves feel like Seattle is getting less and less affordable for them. I want people to know that we looked at this very carefully to make sure that we were balancing the needs of the future, equity, and what people could afford. The average cost to a homeowner will be about $1.75 per month more than they're paying. So that's about $7 a month. It is well worth the investment. I think that if you talk to people across the city to say, if you could get more library hours, ensure more equity, continue programs for English as a second language, all the things we do every day in the library, people would say yes. I've got to thank a lot of people because I get to stand on the shoulders of many. We kicked off this legislation and introduced it at the Lake City Library, which if you haven't been, go. It's in D5 in case anyone didn't know. And the person I want to thank standing behind me is City Councilmember Debora Juarez, who represents D5, because she has been a stalwart advocate for that library since I met her as a council member. We've known each other longer than that. But she really shepherded this legislation through, made sure that we really kept an eye on how do we make sure that we are continuing what libraries have to be in the future. I also have to thank the Seattle Public Library Board. They are visionary. As they oversee this great legacy that libraries are, they're also looking to the future to see how we can continue those libraries to continue to serve our city in a way that it will need those services in the future. I, of course, also have to again thank Marcellus Turner and all the amazing people that work at the libraries. They not only were crafting this package, they were able to do it because they live it. And I'll close with this one last thing. A lot of us talk about equity and access and providing a place for community. Libraries are living it every day. I've had the opportunity as mayor to be in libraries across town, all across this great town. And everything from spelling bees to learning bees to seeing kids engaged, to seeing how we serve people experiencing homelessness as a place where they can go for respite. Libraries are that new place that's gathering, and we want to keep them that way, keep them vital, let them continue to contribute. I also want to thank the whole City Council for passing this and again committing to the future of Seattle. Their partnership and collaboration, I think, will make us go forward so that the Seattle Public Library will endure into the future, serving the needs of community. Now I want to turn it over to one of those people who has made Seattle a great place in many ways for many years, Ron Chu from the Library Board.
Thank you, Mayor Durkin. My name is Ron Chu, and I'm Vice President of the Seattle Public Library Board of Trustees. I'm also a lifelong Seattle Public Library user, so I'm indebted for being here today, really through...
We waived his fines.
Right. So on behalf of the Library Board, let me say how much we appreciate the ongoing support for our libraries from our mayor, great leadership, City Council, our dedicated library partners, the Library Foundation, and the Friends of the Seattle Public Library. As a Library Board trustee, I have the privilege of attending monthly board meetings where I hear all the time the powerful stories of how the libraries make a difference in people's lives. From helping the unemployed find work, to providing Wi-Fi access to the insecurely housed, the library remains an indispensable part of the community. With a stable budget for the last 7 years, the library has maintained core services while effectively adapting and innovating in our rapidly changing world. The doors are open, the shelves are filled, and library programs are responding to emerging needs. From teaching Somali women computer skills to supporting small business startups. This wasn't always the case. Prior to 2012, the majority of branches were closed 2 days a week. I remember that well. The entire library system was shut down for a full week for budget savings. The prolonged economic recession also caused a 13% reduction in budget for books and materials, which is really the heart and soul of the library. The budget for major building maintenance for our 27 buildings was cut in half. So while libraries have been around for centuries, they really can't be taken for granted. Libraries must be available with the appropriate staffing and resources when people need them. They're the one public place where anybody can access knowledge, and as we know, knowledge is power. As a board member, I'm extremely proud of how the library has delivered on its promises of the 2012 levy and our community's love and use of the libraries. As our Chief Librarian, MT, stated earlier, the Levee Renewal will address 4 essential service areas that the public prioritized: improved hours, collection, technology, and building maintenance. The board takes its responsibilities of financial stewardship of public dollars very seriously. We're committed to supporting the public's priorities for core library resources and services. I'm really excited for the future of the Seattle Public Library, which is well positioned to remain strong for my children and the next generation of users. So at this point, I guess I turn it back to you, Mayor Durkin, for the official signing of the Levee Renewal legislation authorizing its placement on the August 6, 2019 ballot. Right. Thank you.
Oh, guys. Any else want to say? Yep. MT, you gotta have one. All right, I won't. I'll save them down here. It's official. Ledger's in the sign. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. I don't know if there's any questions. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Enjoy this gorgeous day. Tell everyone to go and love their local library. And I think this is just another indication of what we in Seattle truly do time after time. We say that if we're going to stand for equity, if we're going to stand for community, we're going to do it not just in our daily activities, but in things that will endure for years. So thank you very much for everything you're doing.